Alex opened his banking app on a random Tuesday morning. He stared at the number for almost a full minute. $10,000 sat there, untouched, exactly where he left it. He felt proud. He had been so disciplined for years. But something about that number suddenly felt wrong. He scrolled down and found the interest he'd earned that year. $47. That's all $10,000 had made him. $47 for 12 months of sacrifice and self-control. He skipped vacations, he skipped nice dinners, he skipped everything. All that discipline, and the bank gave him $47 back. Meanwhile, his coworker Mike never seemed to worry about money. Mike wasn't rich. He didn't earn more than Alex did. But Mike talked about something called compound growth all the time. Alex always nodded along, pretending he understood what that meant. That night, he couldn't stop thinking about his $47. He opened his laptop and started searching for real answers. What he found changed the way he thought about money forever. Saving money, it turns out, was never meant to make him rich. Saving protects money. It was never designed to grow it. Growing money requires a completely different tool: investing. He ran the numbers himself just to see if it was true. $10,000 in savings at 1% barely moves at all. After a year, it becomes $10,100. $10,000 invested at 10% tells a different story. After just 1 year, it grows to $11,000. That gap alone surprised him. But Harel shock camelator, he looked at what happens after 20 full years pass. His savings account would crawl to around $12,000. An investment account could grow to nearly $67,000. Same starting point, same $10,000. Two totally different futures. Here lies the wealth gap isn't between savers and spenders. It's between people who save forever and people who eventually invest. So why don't more people make that simple jump? He quickly learned the answer had nothing to do with math. It had everything to do with fear. Plain and simple. Savings feel safe because the number never seems to move. Investments feel dangerous because the number moves every single day. That constant movement is exactly what keeps people frozen in place. Alex understood that fear. He had felt it himself for years. But he also understood something else now. Fear isn't a reason to stay stuck. He decided to build a real plan instead of guessing. The plan had 5 clear stages, and he wrote them all down. Stage 1 was simple: build a genuine emergency fund first. Before investing a single dollar, he needed real cash reserves. 3 to 6 months of living expenses sitting safely in cash. That money wasn't for opportunities, it was only for emergencies. Job loss, medical bills, a broken car, unexpected disasters. He realized most people panic sell investments for one specific reason: they need the money sooner than they ever expected to. An emergency fund protects your investments from your own life. Stage 2 was about changing how he thought, not just acted. He started picturing 2 separate buckets sitting side by side. Bucket 1 was labeled safety, bucket 2 was labeled growth. Safety money was never supposed to move or fluctuate at all. Growth money was allowed to rise and fall. That was its job. This one mental shift quietly erased most of his anxiety. Stage 3 was the part that scared him the most. He thought investing required thousands of dollars just to begin, but most platforms today let you start with $50, sometimes even less. The amount barely mattered at the start. What mattered was building a habit he could repeat. Monthly habits, he learned, beat perfect timing almost every single time. Stage 4 was choosing what to actually invest in. Beginners often rush toward complicated strategies right out of the gate. Day trading options, constant chart watching, endless stress and noise. But the simplest strategies often quietly outperform the complicated ones. Index funds became the answer he kept running into. An index fund holds hundreds of companies inside one single investment. Instead of picking winners, you simply own the entire market. Diversification, lower risk, slow, steady, long-term growth over time. It wasn't flashy, but flashy was never really the goal. Stage 5 was the hardest one: staying consistent no matter what. He pictured putting $300 into the market every month. At an average return of 8% a year, something incredible happens. After 25 years, that account could hold around $285,000. He had only contributed $90,000 of his own money. Almost $200,000 came from growth alone. That number sat with him for a long time that night. Growth wasn't magic, it was just patience, multiplied by time. But patience is hard when the market starts acting up. Headlines get loud. Numbers turn red. Everyone starts to panic. This is exactly where most beginners quietly give up too early. Alex thought about his grandmother, who once kept seeds in a jar. The seeds sat there safely untouched, exactly the way she left them. But nothing inside that jar ever grew into anything at all. Investing, he realized, was like planting those same seeds in soil. At first, it looks messy. Nothing seems to be happening yet. Underneath the surface, though, something is quietly starting to grow. Months later, His grandmother's garden looked completely unrecognizable. Small seeds had become something far bigger than anyone expected. Alex wondered what would happen if the market crashed completely. He learned that crashes have happened dozens of times before. Every single time, the market eventually found its way back up. When prices drop, monthly investments quietly buy more shares for less. That often leads to stronger returns once the market recovers. People who stay calm during chaos usually come out ahead. They think in decades, he realized, not in single afternoons. 6 months after that Tuesday morning, Alex opened his app again. His savings account still sat there, quiet and unchanged as always. But now, a second account sat right beside it, slowly moving. It wasn't huge yet. That was never really the point. For the first time, his money was actually working for him. He thought back to Mike and his talk about compound growth. He finally understood exactly what he had been trying to say. Compound growth isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself overnight. It works quietly in the background while you go on living. Saving had given him something important, a real sense of safety. But investing was slowly giving him something even bigger, freedom. Those two things he realized were never meant to compete. They were meant to work together, side by side, as a team. Safety comes first. Growth comes right after, once you're ready. Skip the order and fear usually wins the entire argument. Follow the order and the fear slowly starts to disappear. Alex didn't become wealthy overnight. Nobody really does. But he stopped feeling stuck. Well, and that alone changed everything. He stopped checking his savings account like it owed him something. He started checking his investments like they were quietly growing plants. Some days the numbers dipped. He barely noticed those days anymore. Other days the numbers climbed and he smiled just a little. Either way, he kept showing up, month after month without fail. That consistency, more than anything else, became his real advantage. Money experts talk about strategies like timing and complicated formulas constantly, but the truth is usually simpler than any of that. Start small. Stay consistent. Give it enough time to work. That's the entire secret, hiding in plain sight the whole time. Alex eventually built his own version of that 5-stage plan. He kept his emergency fund untouched, exactly the way it should stay. He kept adding to his index funds month after month, quietly. He stopped comparing his progress to other people's highlight reels. Everyone's timeline looks different, and that's completely fine. What matters is moving from saving alone towards saving and growing. Most people never make that shift. That's simply the honest truth, not because they can't, usually because nobody explains it clearly. The math isn't complicated. The psychology is what trips people up. Fear feels loud. Patience feels boring. Most people choose loud. But boring, over enough time, quietly builds real financial freedom. Alex still remembers that $47 from his old savings account. He isn't angry about it anymore. It taught him something valuable. Saving alone was never the finish line. It was only the start. The real finish line comes when saving and investing work together. If you're currently sitting exactly where Alex once sat, that's okay. Everyone starts at the same place, confused, cautious, and a little scared. You don't need thousands of dollars to begin this journey today. You need a plan, a little patience, and one small first step. Build your emergency fund first. Protect yourself before you grow. Then separate your money into safety and growth. Clearly and simply, start small. $50 is enough to begin building a habit. Choose something simple, like a broad, low-cost index fund. Stay consistent, especially when the market gets loud and scary. Give your money time. Time is the ingredient that does the real work. Saving gives you stability. Investing gives you freedom. The moment you combine both, everything about your future starts changing. You don't have to have it all figured out today. You just have to take the next small step forward. Somewhere out there, your own version of that seed jar is waiting. It's time to plant something instead of just storing it safely. If this story helped you see money a little differently, that's the goal. Are you still in the saving stage, or have you started investing? Tell me exactly where you are right now, down in the comments. And if you want more stories like this one, stick around.